Well, hello there. I am Taylor, and you are listening to the For Realsies very last Surviving Maine podcast, at least for a few years while we are on hiatus. This podcast is a kind of a mishmash of all of the things that the jury had to say about the final three. Normally I would have put these in, as TJ talks about Callie, I would have put that in Callie's podcast. As Lauren talks about Seth, I would have put that in Seth's podcast, but I forgot to do that, and so I had all of these clips in a folder, and I thought, hey, I can release these now. So here they are in an order that made sense to me. And if you want to know who's saying what, it's best to watch the video. But you could probably tell by their voices. It's just gonna change, throughout. But this is finally the last Surviving Maine podcast. The jury speaks, and I hope you enjoy, or at least, at the very least, get a little bit of clarity on what the jury was thinking when they made their final votes.
Not everybody, TJ and Adam, mostly Adam, were making fun of me during our final tribal because I couldn't stop crying.
Oh, no.
I'm so proud of the three for making it there. And I just felt so invested. And again, I was so exhausted. So I just kept crying.
That's so cute. What, when they were making their final speeches or what?
Anytime somebody would answer something, I was just like, oh,
That's great.
It was
so. Yeah. They all did so well. I mean, the three quietest people
That's
of the season.
So different. I forget who asked us, they asked all of us jury members before going in, what does so-and-so need to do in order to earn your vote?
Yeah, Addison does that.
Yeah. And I very specific answers for all of them, and all three of them did exactly that.
Wow.
The winner of this one was the most quiet person.
Really?
She was the one I plopped next to, at the beginning, and I was like, "Hi," and she was like, "Hmm?" So she was. We said maybe 2 words to each other the whole time, and it was me congratulating her and giving her a hug, and that's it.
All three of them really did do amazing, and it is such an awesome final three of just three super unlikely people who did just very different things, who were major characters, I think, and at different points hugely influenced the game. Seth voting out Sandra, completely different game if Sandra's there, unfortunately. But shit like that, Amelia being just this amazing fighter, Callie being this perfect under the radar player. It was really awesome to see it all come together.
You're the mayor of Ponderosa now.
Yes, I might get some hate for this.
Yeah, people have had things to say about this. So you're a big advocate for one person.
Yes.
Why don't you talk about that?
Yes, I imagine that some people might be annoyed with me, which is fair. But I stand by that, regardless, I was just super impressed with Callie's game. I was very close with her in the game, the whole time. That I saw all the moves she was making from really close up. So I'm I thought the move we pulled that first round on Amelia and Aaron, I thought that was such a great move, and I was Callie played that so well. She did everything flawlessly and executed that so well. But I was so impressed with that, and I was excited to share that with people on her behalf. And I was also so impressed that from 8 to 7 that she flipped to vote out Lauren, and then immediately flipped back to the people she just flipped against to play an idol to save Seth, and then basically steal Lauren, like vote out Lauren, and then steal her number one from her.
Yes.
She was like the bride from Kill Bill. Like she was just slicing and dicing the end game. Like I was so impressed. Like obviously we're friends outside of that, but like I think the viewers watching will agree with me that like she was playing like a killer game. She was so calculated. She made all the right moves at all the right times that like I don't think like I like who knows like if I don't know her like maybe I'd play with her differently, but like I was just really impressed with her game and like I was excited to like advocate for her because like I did think she was playing a great game and yes she was my friend but like that doesn't mean my friend didn't play an amazing game that I really want to like advocate for.
Mm-hmm. Did you do any advocating for anyone? Did you like for Adam?
I did a little bit but not really because I like there was no way for me to advocate for Adam because it was like I voted with him for one round and then I was out. So I kind of would be like would remind people to like talk about Adam because I was like, what's Adam been doing? Like you were close with him. Like, what's Adam been up to? So I was more like bringing his name up, but like, I didn't really do much to be like Adam's playing the best game because I didn't see enough to know that. And like in talking to him after, I'm like, I'm really impressed with Adam's game, but I didn't really vouch for him the same way I did Callie.
Yeah.
Even though I'm way closer with Adam than I am with Callie. Like Adam's
right.
one of my best friends.
Yeah.
Callie and I like we're way closer now than we were going into the game. Like it's not like I've known Callie for probably like not even a year. Like we met friends of friends and like watched Survivor together. Like it was not like this unbreakable bond of friendship built on years. It was like I was like we like had befriended her roommates and then became friends with her through that, and then we did this. So it's not as like inseparable as it probably seems on the show, but that's how the game like made us.
Mm-hmm.
We're closer now because of it, but I think that shows that like I was advocating so much for Callie over one of my best friends.
Yes,
because I was just very much impressed with Callie's game and I saw it up close.
Okay.
Seth, like Nick, just really spoke to me as a person. And here's the thing, would I have voted for Seth over Nick or honestly Adam, Allison, anyone else who's on the jury? I don't think so. I really do value gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Here was my issue with both Amelia and Callie.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, firsthand in the game, did not see an ounce of gameplay. Neither of them came up to me once. I had to find time with both of them, usually in a group setting. And they'd both like essentially run away from me. We'd like talk for like a minute and then it'd be like, I'm overwhelmed or I need to talk to this person, or like they would let someone else interrupt us. And so I never had any strategic, valuable one-on-one time with either of them. And any time I had with them, 100% of the time, and I'm not even exaggerating, I went to them.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did not play the game with me. Yeah. And then when they were giving, also, I was pretty annoyed. Like TJ and I in Ponderosa were like, Callie is like, sure, she's introverted, but she's not making an attempt to like play the game with other people. Right. And TJ and I were trying to start this discourse and we were just getting shot down by Topher. Again, hindsight. And so I was personally annoyed by the hype around Callie because I was like, I didn't see that. And then in her final speech and all of her questioning, her and Amelia both claimed that they had made these bonds with each and every one of us. And they had gone out of their introverted shell and talked strategy with each and every one of us. And I was like, not fucking me. It just was like a load of horse shit to me. Okay. And jury management is a huge thing to me. I think I'm clearly can talk. Talking is a huge thing to me. And I felt like neither of them, Amelia shocked me. I was like, where the hell was this? And I was like, good for her. And Amelia would have been my vote if she would have just owned the fact that she didn't have social bonds with everyone. But a huge portion of her speech, a huge portion, was how her social bonds got her to where she was. And I was like, well, see, that's just, maybe that's true for you and TJ, you and, whoever else, you and Zach. I'm like, that is just a load of horse shit to me personally. I was like, I have no emotional connection to either of you. I'm not blown away by either of your games. And they didn't just like, Amelia was close to swaying me, but it just was the fact that she had said that just was so opposite of my experience with her. Yeah. And there wasn't a sidebar of like most people, not everyone.
Right.
Like there was no, I just was like, no. And then Seth was not just my like leftover choice. I genuinely like Seth had never watched Survivor. And
wait, really? Oh
yes.
No. Okay.
Seth had like he played because Aaron was playing.
Wow.
And Aaron had only seen a bit of Survivor to the best of my knowledge.
Yeah.
And Seth was just, there was some moments where I felt like I could say literally anything to Seth and he would do whatever the hell I told him to, which I don't always love in a player.
Yeah.
But it just was this social bond. And I was so proud of him for the way he spoke at Final Tribal, because of all three of them, they're all self-proclaimed introverts. Seth is the one who really doesn't know how to speak about himself in that way, to brag about what he's done. I was really imagining him saying, vote for me if you want, and calling it a day. I didn't think he was going to have much to say at all. And so I was just so proud of him. And he redeemed himself at fire making. And you know, I'm really happy also that he talked about him turning on Sandra, because I know he's a loyal player. And I just was so proud of him for owning that and being like, that was a good move.
Yeah.
And having the foresight to know that. And so while he maybe wasn't my winner pick through, you know, the final 8 of everyone who was left there, after the speeches and after hearing the jury and everyone just being so adamant about Amelia and Callie, and I just was so ambivalent about both of them. And I was like, well, I'm going to give my vote to someone that I like. And he did a great job. And I did tear up. And I was like, he's just such a sweet human. And he did not deserve to be a 0 vote finalist. He did the damn thing. And I just was really proud of him.
You know, it is a testament to how far Seth pushed himself out of his comfort zone. And how well he adapted to just a game he was, you know, very unfamiliar with. He adapted so well, and he crushed it. And yeah, I felt like he got a lot out of the experience. Beloved Seth. We all, just a great guy.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he did pick up a vote, because that is 0.9999999 more votes than I think his expected amount of votes.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Seriously.
And he earned it. Like Seth was such a warrior throughout the game. And yeah, the fact that he got to the end with 2 23-year-olds was pretty spectacular.
Yeah.
Might be 24, but
Seth, I said, like, just have a respect and understanding for the game, because he was another one who went in like an awesome, sweet wilderness man, but I don't know if he necessarily knows Survivor.
Yeah.
But before voting me out, like, I had a nice one-on-one to him, and I was like, I don't know, are you still voting for Nick? He's like, yeah, I'm voting for Nick. And like, I knew he was voting for me, but I instantly felt like, good job, Seth. Like, you're lying in my face. Like, you're doing
yeah,
even though
that's great.
And in all of his answers, he just answered so quickly. And like, he had full on responses for anybody's questions, and he didn't hesitate. So I was so excited to see that.
I couldn't leave it in me to know that no one was going to vote for him. And I also, again, he would have broken the tie and voted Callie. Like, I really don't have any doubt in my mind about that. So the outcome would have been the same whether I voted Amelia, Callie, or Seth, to be quite honest. So I'm glad I could give Seth my vote.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And I wasn't going to throw my vote for some dumb reason or because of like, I was the villain. I wasn't here to do what the group wanted. So I'm happy with the outcome of the season. I'm glad we have a woman winner, and Callie did do some cool things.
For a while there, I was getting really frustrated because obviously I was like the champion of Callie the whole time, which everyone has their opinion on. but it was also like they were so the champion of Allison. And I was getting frustrated because like I'm like, Allison's doing well, but like they were so much like, yeah, like Kelly seems like she's playing well, but like she's too quiet. Like she's like, and I was getting frustrated because I'm like, in what world does like to be a good Survivor player, you just need to be extroverted, like extroverted person. So like that works out for me, but I don't think that's like fair. And like, I don't know. I was really happy to see like the introverted players be the ones to be there at the end. Like that was a cool little finish to the season. But I was just frustrated being like, it's not about who is the most outgoing and it's about like who's playing well. And I felt like it took so long for people to catch on to the fact that Callie was playing well just because they felt like she was quiet and reserved. And so I was like just frustrated with how that perception was going.
And then
losing my mind on the jury when people were like, I feel like I don't really know Callie. Like,
yeah.
Have you not met a quiet person?
Right. Yeah.
Saying like, okay, it's not just me. Like, yeah, I know Callie. She's a quiet person. Like, that's just what quiet people are like. Like, what are you talking about?
A couple of people have said that in their interviews, like that they just didn't. No, I don't know. But
no,
as a quiet person, quiet person myself, I'm just like, ouch, like it's the story of my life. Like I feel like I know other people and no one knows me, so I could feel for Callie in that moment. So it's really good to hear that you understand.
Yeah, no, like I was literally like losing my mind sometimes when it kept being said.
So I think that's also part of why I was championing so hard because I was like it's not all about who's the most charismatic.
Yeah. When do you think was the moment when more people started saying, oh, maybe she is playing?
I think it was definitely the TJ vote where she played her middle on Seth to get rid of TJ. Because I had been telling people, I'm like, Callie has an idol. She knows what to do with it. Like, just watch. And like, I felt so vindicated. I'm like, I told you. Yeah. And it's the moment that people started to be like, okay, like, she's a contender to win. Like, she's playing a very calculated game. But I remember even still, like, people like Dave and Zach were like, yeah, I think if Allison gets to the end, it'll be unanimous. And I'm like, what? I don't, like, you have my vote now? Like, you know, like, and I kept saying, like, if Callie gets to the end, she has my vote. And I kept saying that. And they'd be like, yeah, if Allison gets to the end, it's unanimous. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So as much as I was a champion, I was not the only champion on that jury.
Yeah, fair.
But
Allison didn't make it to the end.
She didn't. So so my championing went a lot further.
Yeah. And I mean, Allison played 2 idols incorrectly.
That's what I kept saying. And like this is full transparency. Like Allison, I think you're great if you're watching this. And I've like hung out with Allison outside of the game because like she lives in Worcester, not too far. So like she's one of the people I'm probably gonna keep in touch with the most out of this past. But I like in the game, I was getting frustrated because I'm like she's playing very well, and she's like grasping power when she shouldn't have power because her allies are leaving. But I kept being like, her reads aren't always right, and she has these tools that she's not using correctly. And I was like, and then you flip that to Callie, who had one tool and used it perfectly at the perfect time. I'm like, so why is there still this mismatch? Like, why is it people still have Allison on this pedestal and Callie still has to like prove herself more when she's made only, I think, the right decisions?
Did Callie get any votes?
The whole game, no votes.
Wow.
Yeah, so she got no votes the entire game. I'm pretty sure she was on the right side of every single vote. The only ones that she wasn't on the right side of was obviously the Amelia vote, which she was on the right side of. She was the architect of that. She made that happen.
Yes.
And then the other one was, I think, my vote out when she voted with the numbers, but the idol was played.
Yes.
She either voted correctly every time or voted with the numbers every time.
Yes.
Which is like, that is playing from the top. Like that is playing with all the information. That like she played such a clean game that like I was impressed.
My vote was for Callie, but because I worked with all 3 of these people closely.
Yeah.
And not so much Nick. So before the fire making challenge, I was really hoping Nick would get to the jury because I wanted to hear what he would have been doing. Because I'd voted with Nick But for me, it was always, Nick, are you willing to do this? Like, we need, like, with you, we have a number. Like, it was never like we were talking strategy. It was we had aligned strategic goals, but we didn't know the reasonings. At least I didn't feel like I knew his reasons very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping he would get there. But anyway, so Callie, Amelia, Seth get to the thing, and like I talked strategy with Callie. I knew why she played her idol and did her big move. I understood why she voted me off, and like was upfront about it. Like, I'm thinking about voting you out. Versus like Amelia, I never feel like she was always down to talk strategy, but I don't ever really feel like she was initiating a lot of that. Hard to do on the bottom, to be clear. But like, so I don't fault her for that. But it was very much like I was like, okay, like, and then Seth, I was very much dictating the strategy for us.
Yes.
And so I wanted, so that's why I was looking at it, but I was very interested to hear, because like, I like the strategy bit of the game. The social thing is impressive to complement that and how to implement your strategic goals. But I think like you need a strategy, and how to do that is the social bit. And so then I heard them out, and I thought Amelia gave a very, very persuasive final tribal. I didn't vote in for Callie anyway, and I think I liked her final tribal too, but it was like the reasonings being like Amelia, her final tribal was very much like I wanted to come in and do strategy and be on top, but I couldn't do it. And so like I was in these conversations and I was talking to these people to make sure that like I was in there. And like I respect that, but and I think she did a very good job of playing that sort of game. But it still was never like I needed like Adam on the jury because he was a big threat, or like I was working with Allison because I knew she was a shield. Like I wanted those like here's why I partnered with who I did, and rather than like here's how I partnered with you people.
Right. Okay.
And so then Callie did both, and so I wanted that why, and I feel like Callie gave me that, and Amelia did too, but just not to the extent that I wanted, or to persuade me otherwise. That's all.
Maybe Amelia seemed a little bit too much in the passenger seat and couldn't explain like why she did things, because she was just going along with votes sometimes. She didn't convince you she was in charge or had reasons to be on the sides that she was on.
Yeah, like obviously a lot of this is work from my perspective in the game, coloring this, like knowing when I could get Amelia on my side to vote and when not was a very much like, where can I pull her or when can't I pull her sort of thing. But like from I guess I came in with that bias anyway. I think I just wanted to hear a couple moments of like why people are sitting on the jury, or why the people sitting next to her are the people sitting next to her, rather than like how did I survive to get here?
Yeah.
Amelia was just crushed the final tribal. Yeah. Amelia spoke so confidently. I was thinking sitting there, I was like, was this all an act? All the like, oh, I'm so nervous. Was she just like faking this the whole time? It's like the greatest, like, the greatest ruse in Survivor history. And I don't think that's the case. I think Amelia was mostly just being herself throughout the game. But she found the courage to just speak so well at Final Tribal. She explained her game so well. She basically, Amelia was on the bottom for the entire game, the whole game.
I know every kept coming up, like every round. Time. Yeah.
Yeah. She was on the bottom of Moosehead, and they, did some crazy thing to flush her idol. She was always on the bottom. She was never in the majority at New Moosehead until we flipped, and then immediately merged.
Yeah.
And then she comes over to the minority with me at the merge, and we were basically pawns at. We ended up in a decent position at 10, but at 11 and 9 we were pawns. And then we finally get the numbers at 8, and then it gets flipped on her again at 7. And then I know she, still was kind of struggling at 6 too, because she was close with Allison as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was on the bottom for the whole game, and she never gave up, and she always persisted. And yeah, her finally hitting the ball at the end of that Final Four challenge, like at the buzzer, like as Callie was finishing the challenge, I think it was such a testament to her perseverance and just her ability to push through. She answered the question to that effect. Basically, I'm an introvert. Like I I'm not used to being around this many people. But I made, I made one-on-one relationships with everybody. I made sure that everybody liked me and wanted to work with me. I was like, everybody liked you and wanted to work with you. You did it. Like, you set out to accomplish your mission. And I really wanted Callie to just be like, I'm a badass. I crushed this. Like, I just wrecked all of you.
Yeah.
We know, we didn't know the real tea, but we know that Topher had asked Callie to play the idol, and she said no.
Yes.
So Callie let Topher go to the jury and voted out everybody else. And I said to Callie, when she was answering my question, she was waffling a lot. She was saying, I was so fortunate to be here, and I'm just so, glad everybody kept me in, and I got so lucky to be here. When I heard the word luck, I was like, no, this was not luck that got you here.
Have you seen South African Survivor?
Only Philippines.
Oh, that's the one I think that I'm talking about. Jean makes it to the end.
Yeah.
And she fucking says it's luck, and I'm just like, what are you doing? And I feel like Callie.
Justice for Jean.
Yeah.
She was amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, you never. The only person that ever worked for is Amber.
Yeah, when you sit next to a villain.
give me one word that says why you get here. Luck. Somehow she pissed me off.
It doesn't matter if it's true. Don't fucking say that in a final tribal.
Yeah, and I play a skill game for a living.
Yes.
That people say, oh man, you must be really lucky.
Yeah.
But I'm also really fucking good at this game. I wanted Callie to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But when she said luck, I even gave her another chance. I gave her another pitch. She missed the first one. Let's try another one. I said, how much of this was luck, and how much of this was you being a badass and putting every single person here on the jury? She punted. Wow. So I knew in that moment that I was voting for Amelia, and I knew that Callie played a better game. She did. She had way more agency in the game than Amelia. Amelia played a fantastic game from the bottom, and it's really not her fault that she was at the bottom of the whole game. But Callie, with a nice little advantage as well, was in a great position the whole game. But when all the dust settled, I was so grateful. I was so grateful for the final outcome, because I think both of them deserve to consider themselves the winner.
Yeah.
Callie, absolutely amazing game, super deserving winner, friends or no friends, doesn't matter. She slayed every one of those boys. And I love that, like, they brought Callie in at the last minute. They're like the three roommates and stuff, and Callie was like the tag along, and they were probably all like, oh yeah, Callie, we can just take Callie again. She crushed two of their souls.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
So I think it's a beautiful outcome for her, and it's also a beautiful. I went up to Amelia and Will after they told us all that. Then credit to them for telling us all immediately, because I think if that were me in that situation, I might have been like, until I'm safely at home, right?
Yeah.
Slows that. I think everybody was pretty chill about it. I certainly, it is what it is. We're playing a game for no money, for fun, and they had fun with their friends, and I'm glad they did. But I went up to Amelia and Will after I realized, and I said, hey, I don't know if this will make you feel better or worse, but you realize that if we take out the two people that Callie knew before the game, you win.
Mm-hmm. Game.
So yeah. I think Amelia should consider herself a winner as well.
I do too.
And I think she had she just said she had to fight so hard, and yeah, she did great, and I'm so proud of her. The Amelia struggling on the spool that I first interacted with to final tribal council Amelia, like I feel like you could just see the personal growth with in plain sight, and I'm really happy for her.
Yeah, beautiful.
And Amelia, I think, like, not holding back, and she proved all of her points so well. I voted for her.
Yeah. So you said you were going to vote for Callie in the end, and then you voted for Amelia. So what did she do to convince you?
Well, I think I was kind of always going to vote for Amelia if I had a choice, but in telling, I knew that Nick and Adam were the ones who, like, had some leeway with Callie. So I if it was those two, I would have voted for Callie over them. But just Amelia, like, was so strong in making her moves the way she needed to, and the way she survived, like, all of her shitty tribals that she got through, like, and obviously I worked very closely with her and appreciated her so much, and I was just so proud. Anytime she spoke too, like, I said this in my, like, I want you to win. I was crying this whole morning, could not stop, but anytime you spoke, you made me happier.
Aw.
I was so happy to watch Callie's game played out. I mean, and I don't want to like sound big-headed when I say this, but like when I got voted out as the second juror, with Topher being the first juror, like for me to make a big move and then get voted out, I'm like, okay, an under the radar person is gonna win this season. Seeing it actually play out, she did it perfectly. She did like the ideal under the radar game. Like I can't think of like something she should have done differently in her game. I was rooting for her the whole time, but no, Callie was like a super cool person that like I was happy to see win, and like I was rooting for. I could clearly see their game, and I was so happy like just that it all came together in a super close vote that like
Yes.
was really tense as someone who I was particularly rooting for her. Like that final vote reveal was so so exciting.
Awesome. So you went into that final tribal rooting for Callie, knowing you were going to vote for her. Were you swayed by the other two who probably arguably gave better performances?
Yeah, I thought Amelia did give a better performance. Seth gave a good performance. With all due respect to him, he would have he the best performance you could give for the game he played could not persuade me. He would have to reveal stuff that just did not happen. But credit to him for like completely owning the type of game he played. I did think Amelia gave a better performance, but I thought Callie was giving me what I wanted in terms of concrete examples of how she took control or influenced the direction of the game. With Amelia, the passion was there, but it was a lot of, I talked to people. I made sure I was like active, but Callie was able to point to concrete things like playing the idol for Seth. That ultimately for me meant more in terms of solidifying my vote.
After Callie made that move, basically, the jury was very high on Callie. I think you'll see that in our Ponderosa videos. Check out Ponderosa videos on YouTube. Would highly recommend. You can skip past the parts where Lauren is asking 7,000 questions and just get to the rest of it. But oh, bless her. We're very high on Callie and Topher, who I was lucky enough to see the three of them last weekend, and Topher the mayor, was I the mayor of Ponderosa or was I the mayor of propaganda for Callie?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
The mayor of propaganda was very much pushing his narrative, just anytime we were sort of hanging out. So I was going into basically once Callie won Final Four immunity, I even said to George, I was like, we'll keep this quick, man. Like, I know we got to get out of here. I think we all know what's going to happen.
Right.
When Callie won Final Four immunity, I thought the game was over. But it's such a testament to how well both Seth and Amelia did at Final Tribal that it came down to such a close vote.
Callie played an amazing game, and I didn't want people's bitterness about like the fact that we all knew each other to work against her. Because she made a lot of moves by herself. Like she and Adam, like post-merge, like they were in sync for a lot of it, but they also like they were not each other's ride or dies. Like they were making their own micro moves and like voted him out. Like they weren't like inseparable. I think it would be like unfair to say that like she only just relied on pre-existing relationships when like the relationships that got her the farthest were the ones that she made in the game.
It's true. Yeah. Was there any part of you that was like mildly swayed by Seth or Amelia's Final Tribal performances?
I think Amelia had an amazing Final Tribal. I think she sold her story so well, and I think she flipped a few votes at that Final Tribal. Because I think like I think Dave and Zach were like gung ho about Callie. Like they like were like by the time Final Tribal rolled around, like they were dialed in. But I think people like Allison and TJ who like weren't as convinced or like wanted to hear more. Like I think Amelia did have the stronger Final Tribal. So I think like if your vote was up in the air and you were deciding to base your vote on who had the better Final Tribal, it probably would have been Amelia. But I think I was so impressed with Callie's game that like I would have needed to see like some like secret move that Amelia made that I had no idea about.
Right.
And like I didn't see that. Like she sold her story so well and like explained her decision of like playing in the middle really well, but I still like, I think in my jury speaks, I talk about like wanting to see where like she held like the most agency in the game and like she held the most power. And even with her amazing like final tribal, I never felt like she demonstrated that like she was holding all the cards at any given point. Like I always felt like she was making smart decisions for herself, but they were decisions that were getting her further, but not getting her the farthest with who she wanted to be with and like in a power position.
Right, in a power position. Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's fair.
she was really, really scrappy and like she definitely like she got the better of me. And I think Callie's like she was a blind spot for me. Like there was a few times where like everyone at one point or another thought they had Amelia's vote when they didn't. It's like she did a really, really good job of like keeping people thinking they had her vote.
Yeah.
And like I think she played an amazing runner-up game, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who want Amelia to win. So like I think it's great that like it was a very contested final tribal.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best player won, but obviously that comes with a slight bias. But I like generally think Callie just played the best game. But I think Amelia like played a phenomenal game too. She explained herself so well, and I can totally see why she almost scraped up the votes to pull out the win.
Yeah, all three of them making it to the end and was awesome. And like there's so many different ways that you could justify somebody winning, but Callie won. Like for sure, she made these calculated moves that we didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
But then she was able to explain them, and then like, oh wow, she did that. Oh yeah, we saw that. So she was very like calculated.
So you would have been happy with either of the two of them winning?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, nice.
Yeah. And the fact that and like I was still pushing for like keeping the girls, and I was like, if I can't win, one of these two girls better win.
Yes, finally, Surviving Maine's first woman winner. Finally, season 4.